It's a solar-powered ranch in Mount Ackham. It's in the Sierra foothills. I think it's like a 3-hour drive. Catherine and I and Molly Merzinski, who couldn't be here, and Diane Ashby couldn't be here because they're doing the Creative Growth Fashion Show. Marley DeSwart is another amazing hand knit designer, couldn't be here because she got food poisoning. But all these samples were going to be here today that represented some of the interactions between Molly Merzinski and Julie Rosenfeld. But these alpaca colors, for instance, this is called rose gray, and it's just the natural color of the animal. This shouldn't be here. Can I maybe? And this is a blend of several brown varieties from the ranch. And what I recommend about Julie's place is if you do build a relationship with these alpaca yarns, they're chunky and bulky. She has a little bit of the chunky bulky and a little bit of the sport weight. If you did want to make a textile, you might want to use the sport weight, which she does have. She also is really open to visits, and if you're in a very zen space, you kind of just go there and you walk out in the field, the animals really do come and nuzzle, and the sheep, most sheep flocks run because they're prey animals, and so they run as their defense mechanism. And alpaca, you think the same thing, but her animals really come up to you. So if you want to have an experience with an animal, I really recommend going to her ranch and having that because it's extremely transformative. And there's a lot of sacredness to her relationship with those animals that she brings forth and her storytelling of her ranch. So these are those, and she is so interested in working with designers. She loves it, and everyone here wants to be informed by your needs too. It's not just this is what we have to offer. It's could you tell Julie how you want it milled? I mean, just like the verb for keeping warm, they informed you how they wanted it milled. Tell the mill that's felting robin's wool, this is how we want it felted. Be vocal and communicative and put your needs on the table because the farmers really want to serve your needs too. And I think I'm speaking to that because that's what Julie's always asked for. And then last thing is some of the white wools. In the fiber shed, you can get a lot of white wool, and this is what Monica had milled up, and I think she has a lot of this available. And Monica can show you her dyes, but just these are examples of when you take a white palette and you add coreopsis flowers or indigo and weld, distaff, it's an invasive species, toyons, Japanese indigo, eucalyptus, and this is an ocean water palette, meaning I didn't use any mordants except for salt water from Drake's Beach. So I use no heavy metals in this palette. And this is also the saltwater palette as well. So it's beautiful. Yeah.
So we can put this on our mood boards, on our Pinterest mood boards, so we could start seeing that we.
And these are toyon. Heteromeles are beautiful. Done in ocean water. It's a really different look. It turns bright orange or yellow if you don't use ocean water, but you get pinks and rust colors from the sea. And then the last thing I'm going to just share is Sally's cotton, dyed in Japanese indigo. This is 4 dips, but I'm working on 10 for the Grow Your Jeans project, and so this will go fairly blue-black, and I'm going to try to do about 48 pounds of it this color, but so just so you know, 4 dips, and then about 10 will go blue-black. I don't have an example of the blue-black with me. It was wet, and it was dripping, so I didn't bring it. And then the other thing we have in our fiber shed is Angora, which is this is a rabbit flock that was in Inverness, and then there's also a rabbit flock in Woodacre in West Marin, and all the colors on this sweater here, I really admonish you to touch it. It's the softest and the warmest fiber in the fiber shed, and Allison Arnold she's a young woman, she raises her rabbits, she loves to hand spin, she'll give you raw fiber. You basically can't get the yarn into anything but a hand-spun yarn, but it can get pretty fine. So if you're thinking about accessories where you really want to think about making the warmest possible garment ever known to man, you could use all 100% Angora. And the rabbits are you hold them on your lap and you give them a haircut every few months. And then you hand spin. And Allison sometimes will give the rabbit a haircut and then have the spinning wheel right there. So it goes from rabbit to yarn in one lap.
Does she make felt? My felts are rabbit felts. And I don't have for a thinner felt I think would be easier to make. I could get denser felts from Tennessee. But the thinner felts that I do my draping with, for my lady's hats all come from the Czech Republic.
We should ask her.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll ask Allison. She couldn't be here today. She has lots of children. So, but we can ask her about the felts. Yeah. So those are the people who couldn't be here in person. I just wanted to share that.
And her threads, this is the work she can do with the threads, right? And she'll put up her pricing for how much, and she'll work individually with these.
Maria's
Maria's,
pieces.
yeah.
Yeah, incredible. And this is hand knit. But look at, I mean, on the machine, the efficiency is incredible and the patterning is pretty incredible. So,
My machine can knit about, what is it, a meter and a half in an hour, and any of the yarns, it'll handle any of the yarns. From the
all these
factory.
gauges.
Any of the gauges, yes.
Are there any questions? And Monica has yarn too. Oh, that's right. We have holes.
I have a stock of these yarns available. They are over twisted, as Robin was talking about, is better on machines. They are on cones, so you won't have every end of every 200 yards a yarn join to make. And I have color, and I grew a lot of color last year. I've started growing color again this year, and I do a lot of wild crafting. So this is just a range of stuff I did this month. A lot of it is oxalis. All of the purples and pinks are pokeberry. And then I do indigo too. And this is 3 dips on a hand spun by Marley, and also some interesting yellows with a quick dip in indigo give you some interesting turquoises and greens. And I'd be happy to do color lots for anyone who wants to make a piece with some different or more vibrant colors. And I've started to work with Rebecca does a great job of getting color onto Sally's cotton. It is a lot harder to dye cotton than wool. I'm only using alum. I got madder to take onto this with some coaxing, and then did a quick dip in indigo to give it some variegation.
Any questions?